Meet the Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and this is all the episodes of DiabloCast are special, but woo, party!
Yeah, it's a celebration, bitches!
Diablo 3 release date gets announced, and obviously this is not breaking news. This happened on Thursday morning, but man, who's excited? Yeah. I'm excited. I know Kevin's
I'm pumped,
excited.
Man. It's a party.
Sure every single damn person listening to this podcast is excited, as we should be. Diablo 3 gets a release date. Huzzah! May 15th, 2012, the day of reckoning will be upon us. I know usually we go straight into a recap, but we have to jump straight to it. May 15th. Oh man.
No, I'm pumped.
Wait. I was so excited.
Not only that, but I guess I should mention this too. The Diablo 3 The Order novel by Nate Kenyon's also going live on May 15th for anybody interested.
Woohoo!
Exactly. I think that deserves another round of woohoos.
I'm pretty sure no one's going to be reading anything for a damn long time once Diablo 3 gets released. There will be no reading necessary unless it's in-game text.
True.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe it's finally here. We've been speculating and hoping and wishing and praying for this damn thing to come for the longest time, but it is finally here. There's a 0.1% chance of it getting pushed back. I think that was a blue. Blue quote somewhere, but 0.1%. I'll live with that.
Well, I mean, they already announced the release date. They're not going to push it back at this point.
Yeah, I just man. All right, well, there's really not too much to say about that. I'm just super excited. I felt like we should jump right into that. But let's do what we normally do. Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Dennis Force Dewey, your host, and this is Kevin Sixon Carlino. Kevin, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
All right, today's news, release date, woohoo, Fansite Roundtable. I just wanted to briefly mention that and kind of what happened, but not really, but kind of. We'll also be talking about the hardcore gold auction house at launch and looking at a poll that took place as well. Looking at the GDC images, new skill videos beyond the gate, patch 15, and the PvP delay. And I know you'll be saying, for some of this sounds like old news. Well, yeah, we're going to do everything that happened between last DiabloCast and right now, and quite a bit of stuff happened. So we have stuff to talk about. I definitely wanted to talk with you guys about the PvP delay. And it's funny because the PvP delay was literally announced almost like immediately after the last DiabloCast. We wrapped up DiabloCast, I go on to Reddit, and I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
We completely missed it, but it wasn't around before we started DiabloCast, so there's nothing we could really do about making sure that we had that covered. But anywho, let's jump right into it. So, release date, let's just talk about this for a quick second. And unfortunately, we don't have Jesse here. We normally obviously do this on like Thursday or Friday, and we had to push it back this week because of the Fansite Roundtable event, which we'll just be touching on briefly in one moment. But you know, what was Jesse said May 8th, I think, wasn't it?
And he obviously killed himself, which is because he was wrong, you know.
May 8th was his prediction, was it not?
Yeah, so he's a solid week off, but I mean, like, that's not bad.
No,
but at the same
I'm
time,
still pretty impressed. I mean, I'm sure that there were people who are going to be like, yeah, well, I guessed one day off of the release day. I'm going to say congratulations to you, too. But the fact that he was even relatively close, I'm impressed with. So
I mean, and this is what we were talking about the other day. Like, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of release date rumors and speculation, and obviously, eventually, somebody's going to, accidentally be correct.
Right, yeah. No, that's kind of how it works. I mean, we're going to speculate. What I'm happy about, though, is that there were no retailers guessing this date. As far as I know, I could be wrong.
Yeah, right.
Someone will probably...
Yeah, I know of. I mean, the Best Buy thing, they said February 1st.
Yeah, they did a great job, Best Buy.
Not...
Go to Best Buy for your breaking game information and news. Not. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. And actually, something I did want to touch on, too, is I was wrong because I thought that we weren't going to get a full 2 months of headway, and we are getting exactly that. Yeah. It was announced on March 15th that the release would be on May 15th, which is literally 2 months post the actual announcement. I think it was just like 1 day over 2 months or something. Or
no, it was
wasn't it 61 days or something?
It was exactly 2 months to the day, depending on the count of months. But I mean, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's just funny. It's great. It's exciting. I'm thrilled. I cannot wait for this game to come out. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, well, Force will probably stop listening to you once this game comes out. But I still plan to do the podcast. I've been having a great time doing it. And I think that there is still relevance behind doing a podcast. It won't obviously be like breaking news, because once a game's out, you don't see a lot of new news. But whenever patches come through, those can be discussed. And I think a lot of it's also going to be community discussion and a lot of gameplay discussion as we go on and we level up and go through the difficulties. There'll certainly be a lot to talk about, as we progress through up into Inferno,
Right, so, I mean, if anybody watches State of the Game for StarCraft 2, I mean, you can essentially think of it as something like that.
Well, I think the only difference there is that a lot of what they do is has a lot to do with the professional scene, and there is no professional scene for Diablo 3.
Well, I mean, it's balanced. It's talking about patch notes.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's what's going to take place. So.
Right. And hey, I wouldn't say that there might not be a professional scene. So.
Well, I mean, every time we bring it up, people rage. And
hey, we're gonna have to bring it up this time.
And last week, and we'll be talking about the PvP delay later in the cast. Last week, I made there were two. I think I talked about it in one of my Force feeds, and I think I also mentioned it in the Purgatory at the early part of last week. But I took a jab at the PvE for the sake of PvP. for the sake of PvP manlyhood, and I need to tell people, just take it easy. Those were jokes when I said like PvE is for Care Bears, or PVM, whatever, as I guess the hardcore Diablo fans would call it, PVM. But come on, man. Obviously I'm into the campaign and I'm gonna love the co-op. PvP isn't the only thing I care about, contrary to what I may say a lot of times. I'm certainly going to enjoy it and spend a majority of the time with it, but people just need to, I think, lighten up and take a joke, is all. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Care Bears.
That's all I'm saying here. All right, so next up, we just wanted to make brief mention of the Fansite Roundtable, and while that's happening, I'll just play some Diablo 3 footage in the background for you guys to feast your eyes upon. So the Fansite Roundtable, now there's an NDA on the event, so we can't say everything that happened, but with that said, I can tell you this. It was about the Fansite program, and there was nothing game-related discussed. So
yeah, that's correct. I mean, it was pretty cool for those of us that own fan sites or anything of the sort, the YouTube channel, whatever.
Right.
If anybody is looking to run a fan site, I would say go for it. Maybe in the somewhat semi-near future, the fan site program will looking to be expand. But I mean, that's pretty much about all we can say. I mean, we could probably say more. I just don't want to get in trouble, especially because this isn't like super important for the majority of the players that are probably listening. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, it's only relevant to people who are in or looking at the fansite program kind of stuff, and it wasn't game related. So basically, this means we didn't get any like new information on any of the company's franchises at all. It's just it's not something that happened. So I'm sorry. I know people were hoping like Force come back with Heart of the Swarm news or come back with insider Diablo 3 information, which I don't think there is anything more for us to know other than what we already know. And I'm sure not a lot of people are asking me to come back with misty-eyed panda information. So.
Oh, speaking of which, they had the press event a couple days prior.
Right, and that's something that will actually. For people who are interested in Mista Pandaria, the NDAs on that will be dropping. The embargo tomorrow. On that will be dropping tomorrow. So, I
believe it's midnight tonight.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Tomorrow technically.
So, Mista Pandaria news, there should be a flood of that stuff coming out within this week for anyone who actually does care. But you're here listening to DiabloCast, so I'm assuming that you don't. So now,
not only that you don't care, you absolutely hate.
You despise it, yes.
Obviously.
And next up, we're going to be discussing the gold auction house in hardcore mode in the game. Now, initially this was set to be the only type of auction house available, but it looks like there is the possibility that we are actually, at some point, might be seeing a real money auction house. Now, there's a few things to discuss here. For one, we'll talk about, there was a poll that was released, and in the poll, do we have any idea of the total number of votes? I really don't know.
No, it doesn't. Actually,
I don't think it doesn't say. I'm sure Bashial could actually tell us if we asked him. Why don't you send him a message on MSN or something?
Let's see.
See if
it's Sunday. They're not. working.
Oh, damn it. We'll send him a text then. I don't care. See if you can find out the number of people who voted for this at some point before the end of the cast. But 44% of people said that yes, they would want a currency-based auction house for hardcore characters, and 56% said no. That's about even. It's not exact. It's not 50-50, but it's pretty close to being even. And Jay Wilson actually sent out a tweet stating that the results were split on that poll, and there's a possibility, but it's not going to be a chip. They still plan to ship only the gold auction house, but
even if it was like 100% yes and 0% no, I don't think that they would have delayed the game anymore to implement this anyway.
And as he states in the limited characters that Twitter gives you, it's too late to change now. So
right, okay, exactly.
Right, but I don't know. It's it's interesting, and it's definitely something I want to talk about because there's a very strong argument for the fact that we can understand why Blizzard doesn't want there to be a real money auction house because of the major headache that it's going to cause among people who spend real life money and lose a hardcore character. Like, there are going to be tremendous complaints when that happens, even if they have 15 disclaimers before you make a purchase on a hardcore character in a currency-based auction house. But the segment of the population who is interested in buying gear for their hardcore characters, they're going to go to outside sites.
Exactly, and that's how it was in Diablo 2. I mean, people bought and sold items in Diablo 2 for hardcore characters. I mean, it's not like it didn't happen, which is why I don't know why this many people are like outraged about how people are going to be able to pay to make their hardcore characters, pay for power. Well, that's how it was in Diablo 2, and nobody cared. Everybody did it. Like, what's the problem?
Right. It goes without saying that people are going to make those purchases, 100% guaranteed. And so if Blizzard doesn't facilitate it, it's funny because they talk about this real money auction house being a safer way for players to do what they plan to do anyways, which is buy gear, because it happened. It was so prevalent in Diablo 2. They said, all right, we're going to include a real money auction house because people will do it outside anyways. But then I find it interesting that they exclude it. I mean, they had their reasons, but excluding it from something like this, it's going to result in the same problem.
Exactly. I completely agree with you.
So, again, with that said, and people might say, oh, no, who actually buys gear? Just take a look at the damn poll. 44% of people who voted, it's almost half of the people who voted, said that they would want a currency-based auction house for hardcore characters, knowing specifically that when they lose their hardcore character, because it happens, hardcore characters die.
Right.
When they lose their hardcore character, they would lose any money they invested in it by purchasing gear in the currency-based auction house. Knowing that, 44% of the people who took this poll said, yep, that sounds good to me. So,
and I mean, this kind of harkens back to the same argument that I had for the real money auction house. If you don't like it, don't use it. It's not going to affect you at all.
Right, the gold auction house exists.
Right.
But there is of course the argument that people won't put stuff in the gold auction house. But I think it's important to keep in mind that people are definitely going to put stuff in the gold auction house because of the fact there's going to be a rate between gold and real world money.
Right.
The fact that I can sell an item on the gold auction house, take the gold acquired from that, and then sell that gold on the real money auction house.
Exactly.
So I fully expect people to put valuable items on the gold auction house because of that. God, why can't I think of the word? I don't know. But because of the fact that you can take gold and transfer it into real money at some point. So, yeah, it's going to happen. It is going to happen. So hopefully Blizzard considers that. And if they are sticking by the guns in terms of the reason they initiated the auction house to begin with, which was to make for a safer environment for their players while purchasing gear, then they would want to add that to the hardcore player base as well. I would say even more so hardcore players want to purchase gear just because they're obviously more into the game. They spend more time and they're more devoted to the game. So,
yeah.
Did you have anything to add?
No, I mean, I'm right there with you. I completely agree. I don't see any reasons for them not to, aside from the fact that people are complaining, well, they get to pay for power, and, hardcore should be hardcore.
I still don't understand the paying for power argument because of the fact that PvP isn't competitive. Maybe at one point, if it becomes that, then you can argue that point. But it's a co-op game.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and not only that, but if you don't, like I said, if you don't want to use it, then don't use it. It's not going to affect you at all. The chances of you being in the same game with somebody that you don't know that use the auction house are slim to none.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I agree. Sorry, I just had to block some idiot from chat. LOL. Oh, I wish I had moderators on YouTube chat sometimes. Next up, we'll be mentioning the GDC images. GDC is the Game Developers Conference, and during this, there was a presentation by Blizzard, and in that presentation, images were displayed, and it was pretty cool. We got to actually take a look at the evolution of some of the characters. Specifically, we'll take a look here at the evolution of Diablo. How exciting is that? That'll be up in 1 minute. What did you think about these pictures, Kevin?
I browsed through them. I actually, yeah, like you said, I thought they were pretty cool. Really interesting. You know, it goes through the evolution of Diablo's design and Asmodeon's design. They touched on interface design somewhere in here, monsters, different monsters and whatnot. How the game actually looks, which is kind of funny because you remember back in the early days there was that whole huge debate about, you know, the art direction with the game, which is how they came across, you know, with the pony shirts and everything.
I have to be honest. Some of these sketched up designs I much prefer to the finalized version of Diablo.
That's for sure.
I mean, there's some badass looking Diablos in here that did not make it through.
Yeah, I completely agree.
But we know. I mean, I think it's obvious why.
Right, because it's obviously Diablo is a she, and it's Leia.
So,
just saying, if you didn't want to hear that,
you know, I mean, just looking at, and people will be like, spoiler. It's just you know,
I mean, it's like I know that,
just
but
look at the BlizzCon Diablo image. There's breasts there. I mean, there's nothing else to say other than that. There are breasts on Diablo. I don't know how we can, unless he's let himself go really bad and started to gain some excess body weight. So for the GDC images, if you want to take a look at all of them, head on over to DiabloFans.com. They've got them fully made available. In addition to the evolution, kind of the art design evolution of characters, there was also a look at the evolution of gears, and it's basically it's the GDC is the Game Developers Conference. They went through the development of Diablo 3.
Right.
And they took a look at the developing of like hero tiers and armor dies and all sorts of stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, DiabloFans.com does have a full availability to all those images that you can take a look at. So I thought it was awesome. Really wish I could have gone to the Game Developers Conference.
Yeah, me too.
Didn't happen.
This is really sweet.
I like the armor die tinting as well that they display. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What will you go with, Kevin? What's your armor die preference?
I mean, I don't know. It all depends. Like, first of all, if I do something, I'll probably have it like they have it and just match everything. Like, it'll be a straight white character and it'll be sick, or all pink because I'm a pimp. You know, like something like that. I don't know.
Because
the green looks
something.
the green looks kind of cool. I mean, I don't know. It all depends because you also have to keep in mind you also have to actually obtain the dyes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Me, I'm probably gonna go with gray and yellow because that's kind of my thing. I don't know if you noticed. It's like my logo and all that.
Yeah,
So.
I see what you did there.
Gray and yellow's a nice color combination. I enjoy it.
Interesting.
So yeah, GDC images. Once again, DiabloFans.com has a post up, in which you'll be able to take a look at all of those. Really nothing new. I mean, there's like new images, yes, but there's nothing new like, oh, look at this new gameplay feature.
Right. It's just interesting to look at.
Exactly. Next up, new skill videos were released last weekend. I think it was last Saturday.
Yeah, I believe so.
In which they came up, and then shortly after they came up, I did what I do best and made a sweet compilation video of them. And it's pretty neat. Now, most of these we had already been aware of and or seen, but as always, when they release these new skill videos, like in the first batch that they did, we get to take a look at some new enemies and some sweet new areas, and I was a huge fan of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think. Let me try to think. Were there any new? I guess we got to see Archon, which we've seen at.
I thought that was sick.
Yeah, we
called the Ancients.
We saw that at.
The press event.
Yeah, we saw that at the press event, and we also saw it at BlizzCon last year. But I don't think the general public has seen Archon really. I don't because there wasn't ever maybe except for like shoddy arena images taken from a little phone camera or something. But besides that, no one got a good look at Archon. But Archon is super overpowered. It's fine. I mean, I don't.
I know, I love it.
It's one of those things, and you know, it's funny
No, it's
because
not.
some people will take a look at these specifically. They'd be like, "Wow, so the demon hunter gets this shitty little raven, and the barbarian gets this crazy seismic slam that kills everything in its path." I mean, these you can't like take that. It's like apples to oranges. Some of the abilities that we'll look at here are late tier abilities with large cooldowns and heavy resource cost, and then some of them are just like little, you know, little
Right.
buffs or extras that you get. Nothing. It's not meant to be significant.
Right.
It's just weird that I found that odd that in the comments in the video people were making that comparison. They're like, "Oh wow, he gets a stupid bird, and you know, there's like fucking Archon." Like, no, those aren't comparable. That's not the same. It's not within the
Yeah.
same tier. It doesn't have the, you know what I mean? It's just
Right,
funny.
exactly. I mean,
I mean,
Archon's
the
level
wizard
up
has
30.
the wizard has familiar, which is kind of like the equivalent
Yeah.
to the demon hunter's companion. It's a little
Exactly.
thing that doesn't do a lot of damage and just kind of follows you around. So-
Actually, I looked through it one day, and all the classes have something along those lines. The monk has like some.
the barbarian has a
light-
companion.
I believe so. If maybe I considered Call the Ancients like the companion, but if
Yeah.
not, then yes, it does,
Huh.
or he does, or she does.
Oh.
The monk has some like light warrior or something that he summons.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah,
anyway.
I mean, it just you can't compare one ability type to something completely different and be like, oh, they're getting so screwed. It's not quite the same. But you can take a look at this new skill video. This did go up for me last like Sunday, I believe, Sunday or Monday is when I released it. Or of course, you can head to the official website and look at them all individually if that's your bag. And yeah, it's cool. Just some new skills for everyone to take a look at, or not necessarily new skills, but new areas and enemies.
Again,
2 months.
interesting to look at.
2 months and we got it. We don't have to watch
Yeah.
any more stupid videos online. We can just actually play the game and enjoy it thoroughly.
Yeah.
Cannot wait. There's Archon. Unbelievable.
I know, I love it. It's not overpowered at all. It
No,
needs to stay that way.
standard. Yep. That should be the first ability you unlock when you...
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, there were a lot of complaints actually about the blizzard animation, so I'm going to bring that up. People are saying it looked like 7-Eleven slushies raining from the sky. I can't say I blame them. It's interesting. I don't know if this is the final like texturized version of the spell, but it did look kind of odd. What did you think about Blizzard?
No, I mean I agree. I actually had to watch that one twice because I watched it and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell am I looking at? And I'm
Sure,
like, this is
yeah.
Blizzard, really?
Yeah.
So I mean, in Diablo 2, the Blizzard animation was pretty sick. I mean, it was literally a blizzard, and this is kind of like a bunch of sloshy raindrops.
Well, that's the thing. I think it feels like slush, like that stuff that gets kicked up on the sidewalk after plows
Exactly.
have gone, and it seems like that's like falling from the back of a truck or something. Like, it's
Yeah.
to give an actual critique, it doesn't feel impactful. Like, I don't feel like it's landing and dealing damage. And that may sound odd,
Right.
but it has a lot to do with the visuals and the audio. And both of those things just didn't really seem to line up and seem powerful like they could be, based on the video that we got. All right, that's just. It was just based on that video. It might be different in game where you got your headset on, you got full like surround sound going with you, and maybe it's going to be and I know a lot of people may not attribute sound to gameplay fully, but it has a big, it plays a big role in terms of like what you feel from the game and what you get from the game in terms of like response. When I cast an ability,
Completely.
the audio behind abilities really play a big role into how powerful they feel. And I hope that if maybe it'll be different at release, and maybe they've nailed down the audio, but if I hear like bloop 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 bloop
Yeah, right?
slushy sound, I'm gonna be pissed off. Like, this does not sound powerful at all. You guys gotta fix this. Yeah, it's all right though. I mean, that's not a huge complaint, just something I wanted to bring up is all.
Yep.
But yes, the new skill videos available on the official site, or a recap video available on my site, posted last Sunday. Let's talk about some hacks or something along those lines. So here's what happened. Last week, some people were able to find their way beyond the cemetery gate in the game. And this actually, unbelievably enough, opened up an entire new area. The Festering Woods, the Fields of Misery. There were new merchants that people could take a look at. People were buying armor dyes and rings and just all sorts of stuff. It was unbelievable. And Blizzard actually, it was around for a while. I think it was at least a full day until they did anything about it.
Well, I mean, they hot fixed it so that way you could no longer get there, and then people still have the waypoints. So at that point, all you have to do is spread the waypoints, and you can still get to some of these areas.
Right.
Yeah, not that I know that, not that I played it or anything, because that would be terrible.
No, I mean that's exactly what happened though, and people just all they had to do was share their waypoints, and then there you go.
Yeah, and I mean if I did play this, somehow I would definitely say that it was awesome, and it made me more pumped for the game. But I didn't play it because that would get me in trouble.
Man,
Yeah,
it's too funny. Yeah, it was great though. It was exciting to see some new areas. And because it's considered like an exploit and stuff, it's nothing that I actually posted. Like I would show, like this is another video that another YouTube user posted that I'm playing right now, but not supposed to really show exploits and stuff like that. And that's what that's what this was considered, because it was not intended to be accessible in the beta.
Exactly, which is why I didn't partake in it. But if I did, I would say that there was some really cool random events.
Cool.
Like one of them was like you ran to the top of the hill and clicked like an obelisk, and then all of a sudden you got rushed by mobs. They're like, yeah, no, we can't let them take over our hill. It was literally just like a hill in the middle of nowhere. Not that I know though, but it was sick.
Nice.
They're goat men and everything. Really made me pumped for the game just by watching the videos, of course.
And here some people will be able to take a look at some of the dice, which is really
awesome.
I
did see that. I mean, I actually had to watch that video.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was great. It was great to see these. It was great to see these new areas. I wish that it's something that I really I could have covered. I would have liked to do that, but you can't cover exploits. It's a no-no. Don't do it. Yep. Awesome. Can't wait for the game to come out.
I know. I'm so excited right now.
2 months away.
Yep. T-minus 2 months. And actually, I'm really happy that it's mid-May, because my finals are over in April, so it works out perfectly for me.
Man, I don't know what I'm going to do. This game comes out. I might have to just abandon YouTube altogether and play Diablo nonstop. I am just kidding, of course, but I'm really, the thing too is I'm really excited, and I'm really looking forward to the game being out and being able to work on guides and stuff for it. Like that's the one thing I'm excited for. And once the PvP does eventually come out, and the PvP delay is coming up, we'll be talking about it very shortly actually, but once the PvP does come out, even if there's no replay system, which I don't expect there to be, I still hope to get recorded matches and still commentate on them, just because it'd be fun, and I think people would like it. I think people would like to watch it. We can gauge after I do a few of them how it all goes down, but I think that people would enjoy watching. I know I'd like watching something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I on occasion I go back and watch your old commentary, the 2009, I believe, the PvP game reel or B-roll that they gave us. I mean, I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's from a fixed point too. And actually, here's something that I wanted to bring. This is something that I plan to do, and I'm not afraid of saying this and thinking that people will steal my idea, because I'm sure people might try it, but it's a lot of work, and I know a lot of people don't like to do a lot of work. I'm okay with it. But I'm actually what I'm looking to do here is one big thing behind commentary is being able to swap between and look at what each individual player is doing. And obviously without a replay system, that'd be very difficult in the arena for Diablo 3. But I plan to have sessions recorded from multiple viewpoints. So have XYZ player, say everyone on my team, just record their gameplay. And then link that footage together, be able to bounce between player when significant things happen for each player, when they're about to get a kill, when they CC someone, whenever something like that happens. This video is really cool idea, by the way. But yeah, I think doing something like that could actually make it a lot more exciting. It will be a lot more work having to get the footage from everyone, but it'd be really awesome.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
It'd be great. And all this while we're playing some of that brand new laggy footage in the background. I don't know whoever recorded this. I mean, thank you so much, but it's pretty laggy. Maybe he probably just doesn't have a second hard drive or something. That's honestly going to be my assumption.
Yep.
Isn't that something that you did? Didn't you get a second hard drive when you bought a new computer?
Yep, I'm actually about to set the computer up this week because I'm on spring break. So yeah, it's gonna be nice. I got 2 video cards and we're running with SLI or whatever. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah. Are you getting Are you getting a solid state drive in your new PC as well?
Yes, I did. I mean, it's kind of small. It's only like 240 gigs, so I definitely have to figure out what goes there and what doesn't go there.
Yeah, what it's supposed to be, from what I understand, you're supposed to put your operating system and the games that you intend on playing, and then most of everything else, most of your files,
Lump
and
on the other one.
programs that you don't care about running crazy fast don't need to go on the solid state drive.
Like World of Warcraft, obviously.
Sure. Beta patch numero 15. It's coming, and there's not a lot to it, unfortunately. There's really not a lot of new stuff here. We'll be quickly going over the patch notes once I can find the official. Bam! There it is. Beta patch 15. All characters have been wiped. Pretty much standard, except for the last beta patch, which was really odd because they added a ton of new stuff, and they kept the characters that I had prior. It was great, but they didn't do it this time.
Yeah, because you still had all the rings and stuff that nobody else could still find.
I still had all the rings, and since I was level 13, I had access to all of the brand new runes, so I was able to quickly whip up the new rune videos. That was great. But Battle.net authenticators have been enabled for the Diablo 3 beta test. So if you have an authenticator on your account, you now need it to play the Diablo 3 beta, if you're in the beta, of course. The Gold Auction House has returned for hardcore characters, available for testing. New quest selection feature has been added, so that's going to be when you are making a quest. It says specifically right here under that in an indented bullet point, accessed from the main character screen. This feature will allow players to select which stage of a completed or in-progress quest they wish to start with.
Yeah, after you've completed a quest. Yeah. I'm actually really happy about this because you could go to the one, I don't even remember, a Shattered Crown is what I think it is, and you start that quest off by first having to go rescue the blacksmith, and then going out to the tombs or the cemetery where you go through all three of them to find whatever the hell the Wraith is.
Right.
And then she drops the Nephilim, or not the Nephilim cube anymore. It's the Stone of Recall, I believe.
Well, you're supposed to get the crown portal from her, though.
Right,
that's
and then
Genly Orc's crown or whatever.
Right, and then you go to the little thing in the wall, and then it gives you the town portal, and it's like an optional quest to use town portal. For me, when I was grinding just to level up all the characters, I was just running those cemeteries, and I would have to resume game, and if I accidentally completed that quest, I'd have to go all the way back and save the blacksmith again. So basically, this just means I can start the quest at any point in time that I want, as opposed to just starting the quest at the beginning of that particular quest. I think it's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, and this will be good, once the game comes out, because if we ever want to jump back to one particular part of any quest, now we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's good. Adding a kind of a deeper layer to that, to having, more specified in terms of where you want to go, is great. It is great. The cost for the first and second shared stash tabs have been increased. First tab from 50,000 gold to 100,000. Second tab from 150,000 gold to 200,000. That is a crap load of gold.
Hell yeah, that's a lot. I mean, especially when you're trying to, level up the artisan, your blacksmith at the same time that you're trying to increase your stash size, and then eventually, we'll get the jeweler. You're gonna have to be trying to level them up, and which also costs a bunch of gold.
Right.
That's a lot of gold.
Yes, absolutely. The levels at which character skills and runes have been unlocked have been adjusted. Again, they keep doing this. You know what? I think they were right. I think they're going to keep doing this until launch just to show us new things. And then they're going to set their permanent skill and rune selection order at launch. It's hilarious. They do this literally almost like... It's been like every patch for the past few patches that they've completely reworked the skill and rune distribution.
Yeah.
Treasure goblins drop slightly better loot and less junk. Yes.
I slayed them all anyway.
Stupid treasure goblins.
Pokemon Master. Gotta slay them all.
I hate treasure goblins. Some reworking to various skills for the monk, the witch doctor, Templar. Also got some adjustments. These are all, just small balance stuff. This happens much like the reworking of the order of things happens. This has been happening pretty much every patch as well.
Yep.
Just a little bit of damage adjustments here and there, and Dashing Strike now converts to basic attack if you're out of spirit,
which is good, as opposed to just standing there doing nothing.
Right. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that, because if you were out of spirit and you tried to Dashing Strike, you would just stand there saying not enough spirit to do it. But now with this, you will actually just run. If you try to mouse over a character and hit Dashing Strike, now it'll run to him and do your basic attack.
Yeah.
So that's much better. Yeah, just some slight adjustments. I like the change to Soul Harvest actually a lot. Now displays how many targets are affected on the ability's stack count.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I do. With all the animations that go on between Haunt and all the characters, and the fact that Haunt jumps from one to another, I think that this will make it much easier to read, making sure that you've got Haunt on all desired targets, or at least the desired number of targets, So,
yep, I think it's pretty sweet.
Help a bit. Followers, odd changes. The non-hired version of the Templar has had its damage reduced and will now do
because
amount of damage.
If you remember in the last patch, they changed it to like 30% of the weapon damage or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess that didn't account for the non-hired version, the one that you're actually helping when you're doing the quest.
Exactly.
If you know what I mean? Yeah. So, it makes sense. I mean, it's not like they're doing anything new here.
And then lastly, the Monster Affix Thorns has been renamed to Reflects Damage.
I think that was kind of silly, personally.
Jondar poison damage has been increased. Harder? Great. That's good. That's odd, though, changing Thorns to Reflects Damage.
It's been Thorns for the last 2 games. Like, if you don't know what Thorns is, how do you play video games? What are you?
And some various bug fixes as well. So not a tremendous patch. Nothing really groundbreaking or super new. Just, again, slight adjustments with a character wipe. I guess the biggest addition is the change to the tab, the amount of gold it costs for the tab and the shared stash, and the character selection, quest selection stuff. That was a big change as well. Next up, and saddest of all, is PvP.
I'm glad you say that, because I'm going to have a completely different perspective, and I don't really know why. But you go first.
It's fine. And we'll talk about this too, and I'm certainly okay with it and understand the reason. It's not a huge deal. It's not out at launch. I understand that that's not a big deal because we still have to level in gear. But I am sad that they're taking it out, but I'm also happy the fact that they are going to be working on the system and trying to make it better as a result. And the fact that this means the game's not going to be delayed. I was never going to request the game be delayed longer for the sake of PvP. I was just hoping that PvP was all set and they didn't have to make any major changes to it. But last week, literally almost immediately after our Diablo Cast, the announcement went up that Diablo 3 PvP was going to be removed from the game for launch and added in a patch post-launch. This doesn't mean it's added in an expansion. It will be coming in a patch, but the idea, the mentality here is that they felt it wasn't where it wanted to be, like they do with a lot of things, and they said, well, instead of pushing the game back, just like they removed the Mystic, instead of pushing the game back, they are just going to say, hey, you know what? We'll take it out for now. We'll add it later. But not the same as the Mystic, because they have at least said here that it would be coming in a patch shortly after.
Right.
So
the Mystic is just gone for now.
Yeah.
The potentially expansion, same with the Talisman.
I am kind of expecting the Mystic to come at an expansion, maybe like a year and a half down the road or something. But maybe she'll get patched in too. Who knows? That seems like something, though, that they may very well save for an expansion just because it is kind of like a big deal that they add back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So... I'm sad. I'm sad that it's not going to be there right away. I'm sad that, I planned to level to 60 pretty damn fast, and I was hoping to be able to PvP right away, but I will have to gear up for quite a while now, and that's okay, but it doesn't mean I'm thrilled about it. I do wish it was there, and yes, it makes me sad, Panda. Kevin?
Yeah. I kind of felt the same way as I was reading it, and then I thought a little bit about it, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to jump right into PvP right off the bat.
Sure.
I'm obviously I could, but I'm not going to PvP level 1 or even level 10. I'm going to obviously just want to play through the game because that's kind of important. I really want to know what happens. PvP will be fun, but I want to know what happens.
Right.
Now, of course, I had the option to PvP, so if I did feel the crave to PvP, I could just do it, regardless of what my level was. Now I don't have the option anymore. But
yeah, I wasn't so concerned about not being able to low level PvP. Like, that's not a big deal to me. I don't take a lot of stock in low level PvP at all. But I do think that it would have been fun to have that option while leveling up when the game first came out. Because something that would have been great that I would have really enjoyed is through the leveling up process. Maybe my initial plan here was like take benchmarks, say like level 30, and then level 40, and then 50, and then have like a day dedicated to PvP, and then get a bunch of that footage up online. Like I would have enjoyed doing that.
I definitely want to do the same, something similar. Like I wanted to, come launch. I wanted to cover a lot of PvP related gameplay, but obviously we can't do that anymore, which kind of does suck. But now it does leave a lot of room for people to simply beat the game, find out what happens, play through the storyline, get to Inferno, and then attempt to farm some cool stuff. So maybe by the time we actually are ready to PvP with decent characters, it'll be there.
Right.
And now, I'm going to throw this out there. I don't exactly know. Obviously, nobody does. But I'm going to say that PvP is going to come in like, obviously it'll be a major patch. I mean, it'll require BattleNet changes. It'll require client and gameplay changes because they have to add all the files, and it'll add new areas and whatnot because they're PvP arenas.
Yeah.
I think it'll come in something like patch 1.1 because that'll be a major patch, and obviously I'm hoping it's 1.1 and not like 1.2 or 3 or 4. But yeah, my point is it's not going to be like a week after release, in patch 1.01 or whatever.
I fully expect it to take like a couple months. Like I honestly don't expect it within a month or 2 months. I expect it to be at least 3 months out, if not a little bit longer, and that's fine. I will have been honestly. I mean, I don't think it'll take me longer than a week to get to 60. I don't expect it to at all. I plan to play a lot when this game first comes out. I mean, heck, depending on how hardcore, maybe a few days. I don't know if I played nonstop. That's actually not reasonable because I'll have to.
Yeah,
I'll still want to make videos and stuff. So.
Well, not only that, but I mean, if you just played it straight, I mean, it's gonna take probably like a solid. I don't know. I want to say like 70, 80 hours or so.
Sure. Yeah. But I could easily envision doing that within the first week.
Right. I think that would be, believable, realistic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But so I mean, yeah, within the first week, I planned to hit level cap, and then obviously there's going to be like hardcore playing as well. And that's going to leave me with a lot of time to grind gear, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to be doing this for years and years and years and years. But yeah, I don't know. Just myself, I think people know this by now that I enjoy competitive play, and however competitive Diablo 3 PvP can be, which is arguably not very much because of balancing issues and the fact that they're not striving to make it be competitive, it still was going to be a lot of fun, and there's competitive spirit behind it because it's me against physical other people as opposed to me against scripted AI, which scripted AI can be hard in the fact that it can kill you very quickly, and it can do tremendous amounts of damage and not take a lot of damage through resistances and heavy armor and huge HP pools. But scripted AI is not difficult in the sense that it's scripted. You know what's going to happen. If I see X enemy with X attribute, I know exactly what that is going to do.
I mean, yeah, and not only that, but on the other hand, we have heard that the game is, pretty damn hard.
Oh no, I mean, I expect it to be difficult, and I expect people to die. I'm not saying that like people can snooze their way through the game, but what I'm just saying is, in general, something as hard as PvE can be, which it certainly can be. Like I said, it's hard for the reasons
it's a different feeling.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
Because you're not playing against someone who has a brain, who's thinking.
Well, that's debatable.
but when in PvP you're playing with someone who's thinking and can be very dynamic. And sure, AI has gone, in a great direction, and it's very dynamic, and it's doing a great job. But there's still patterns, and there's still you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's partially true. I mean, once we get to the later stages of the game, I mean, that Jay Wilson tweet said that he faced like, I don't know, it was like up to 4 or 5 like affixes on a monster at the same time.
And that's awesome.
That is pretty awesome. Like
that's great.
I think that'll be intense.
Yeah. No, there's certainly difficulty behind it. And I've been part of the PvE game You know, certainly in Diablo 2, a tremendous amount. Also, I used to raid a ton in WoW, and I certainly know there's a difficulty behind it, but it's a different type of difficulty. That's all I have to say about it.
Yep.
It's different. It's different. You can't argue that. That is not. Can't argue that's the same.
No, I completely agree.
So, well, there you go, guys. Not going to be at launch. A few patches out. Yeah, I know you know this by now, but I just wanted to cover it because we haven't actually kind of sat down and discussed it, hashed it out. And you know, something else I wanted to touch on too. And I guess it's also going to come down to I guess people's, you know, how they allot their gameplay time. And I think a lot of people, unless you're in a situation where you've got tremendous amounts of free time to devote to gaming, and I've been there before, I'm not currently there now, but unless you have a ton of time to devote to gaming, you really have to make decisions in terms of how you're going to spend your gaming time and what you're going to spend doing it. And I will probably end up being... I would say when my character is level 60 and I have a fair amount of gear and I really start getting into the PvP, my allotted Diablo 3 time will probably be like 50-50 between the campaign and PvP, or even like 25-75, with 75% of my time going to PvP and 25% of my time going for gear. And you know, someone's going to say, oh yeah, then your gear's going to suck and I'm going to destroy you. No, because I plan to buy gear. And then someone will say, oh, well, you're a scrub if you're buying gear. No, because this is how it works. All right. If I can spend an hour of my time making a video, doing work, making a video, getting it on YouTube, and getting paid for that, as opposed to an hour of my time grinding, the amount of money that I would get from an hour of my time working far outweighs what I could possibly get in an hour's worth of time from grinding PvE.
Right. So now you got the extra cash.
Well, and it's not that. It's the fact that, you know, I mean, I can't play.
It's more cost effective for you to make a video.
And I can't play all day. I would never get any work done, and then I would, you know, without consistently producing videos, you lose your following. You kind of lose your fan base. That's kind of how YouTube works. If you make quality content and you do it on a regular basis, you will grow. If you do quality content but you do it inconsistently, it's a lot harder to grow. And if you put out crap content, then it just doesn't matter.
You're not going to go
anywhere. but it's important for me to kind of spend a lot of time on a regular basis putting out a lot of content, and that makes it so that, I mean, I really I can really not play a hardcore MMO ever again, unless I were to go back to like a normal 40-hour-a-week job. Then I think it'd be possible, but. Like, with all the time I have now, and the whole point of me saying all this, like, Forrest, we don't care about the shit that you do, but the whole point is that I've got a specific amount of time, and it's a small amount of time that I can devote to gaming nowadays. And because of that, I really need to pick, okay, what do I enjoy doing the most? And, you know, I will be buying gear because I will want to spend a lot of my time in PvP, but I also want to stay competitive. And there's people who won't buy gear, but instead they'll play for 6 or 7 hours a day. So I'm trading that time and using that time towards my work, which obviously has other benefits to it, and then taking a portion of that money to buy the gear to replace the amount of time that they spent doing that. And that's I guess the addition of the auction house is perfectly tailored for me, because otherwise, without as much playtime as I used to have, I won't be able to stay competitive with the amount of gear. You know, people will argue against that. People will say, well, that you shouldn't stay competitive because you can't play as much. And maybe you're right, but if that's the case, then Diablo 3 is not the game you should be focusing on, because that is going to be the case in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I can't realistically see myself buying any gear. I mean, I didn't do it in Diablo 2, even though it was dirt cheap. I don't know, I'm pretty cheap, so I don't want to spend my money on that.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I'm
a college kid. Like, I'm not. It's not like I'm making a ton of money and then just, you know, blowing it because I have it. You know.
No, I mean, and I understand. Like, I certainly understand that side of things too, and I certainly understand there's a large portion of the player base. And this isn't you, but there's also a lot of players who are still kids. They're still in high school, or even, you know, prior to high school, or even college. Like, you're a college kid, and college kids don't have spare money.
Yeah, I mean, and I could definitely, you know, spend some cash on items if I wanted to, but for me, it's like I could spend, you know, $5 on the sword, or I could just, you know, take an hour out of my day in between classes and, you know, see if I can find something better or whatever. And actually, now that I bring that up, that's another potential thing that's kind of scares me. Like, what if the game goes live and you buy this sick sword and you have the top item for a solid week, and then something better comes out, and then that starts flooding the market? Well, now what do? You just spent $10 on this sword. Well, now you got to go buy the next one.
Yeah, well, that's gonna be the kind of the risk, I guess you can call it, for people who do buy gear, is that you have to worry about it becoming obsolete.
Especially if they patch it and the stats on that particular item drop. Like, I wonder how they're gonna deal with that.
I don't know that they will do that for that reason.
Actually, no. Yeah, you're correct. Because I remember in Diablo 2, like, there were 1.09 wind force bows, and those are like the best wind forces ever because they got nerfed or whatever post 1.09, something along those lines. But yeah, so it'll just affect anything that drops from here on out. So if you already own the item, you're good to go. But I mean, if they introduce new items, then yours, will become obsolete.
Yeah.
Just food for thought.
Well, and it's definitely something to consider if anyone who is going to buy gear for whatever the PvE or the PvP game. The buying power thing, I still just don't buy it because this game is not competitive. It's not meant to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so focused on the co-op, and the PvP is going to be pretty damn casual. So
not for me, it isn't.
I mean, here's like another thing too, like Mass Effect 3, they've got the system in place where you can buy gear in Mass Effect 3 in the co-op.
Really?
In the co-op part of the game, basically what happens is you play through the game and you unlock credits, and then with those credits, you can purchase these packs. There's like a recruit pack, and then there's like a high level pack. There's 3 levels total, I believe. And those packs will give you a random upgrade for one of your weapons, or they'll unlock a weapon, or they'll unlock a new character skin. But it's random. It's like getting a pack of cards, like a trading card game. You get a pack of cards, you get one rare, and then like a bunch of commons and one uncommon. So they've implemented that system, and you get credits, and you can unlock these, or you can spend money. You can spend BioWare points to buy these packs as well. So it's the same thing with that. You can say, all right, do I want to spend the next 5 hours grinding up enough credits to be able to unlock this pack, or do I want to spend $20? Some people will say, I want to spend the next 5 hours. Some people will say, I'd rather just spend $20. You know? And it's kind of the same thing, and this obviously wasn't something that we had to deal with as much in the past with gaming, but this is definitely something that is happening in gaming. Microtransactions or things of this nature. It's taking place, and I think that for me personally, as long as it's not in a competitive space, then it's fine, and that's why I think it's okay for Diablo 3. If they and that would be a problem. If they were to decide at some point to make PvP competitive, then they would have to rule out purchase gear. Otherwise, it'd be buying power, and it'd be a huge imbalance, and that would be an issue.
In which case, they could just simply restrict competitive PvP tournaments to hardcore only. Assuming if they don't introduce a real money auction house there.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't think that there would be a real money auction house just for like the PvP tournaments, but could you imagine that if there's like a tournament and they're like, all right guys, you got 30 minutes to buy as much gear as you can. Go. But because there's no focus, it'd be like in StarCraft 2 if you could purchase like badass extra units or something, or if you could awesome. Purchase upgrades, permanent upgrades for every StarCraft 2 game that you play. Like if I spend $300, I will always start every match off with +1 weapons upgrade in StarCraft 2. Like that'd be
that'd be intense.
Obscene.
Yeah.
and that's clearly part of the reason why they're saying, well, we're not going to focus on balancing or making PvP 2 competitive in Diablo 3 because of the fact that there's an auction house. And because people would be able to buy power. And since this is a hold your hands, like let's all hold hands and knit sweaters type of game, and that's not to degrade it, but it's just saying like this is co-op, there's not a lot of competition, so it's a friendly type of adventure. We can go into battle locking arms and whistling a beautiful tune.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, and I was thinking about this, World of Warcraft has a competitive scene, StarCraft 2 has a competitive scene, so now they kind of have their third major franchise. It's kind of, casual, like, if you're a WoW or StarCraft 2 pro player, why don't you just jump on Diablo 3 and, take a couple minutes, relax, take a little break from your competitive game.
Drink your tea.
Exactly.
Just take it easy. You can even drink a sleepy time tea, no problem.
Yeah, and you can just sneeze through the game, is what you said before. And I kind of feel like that's their goal with Diablo
has
3,
to
which
be.
is a shame.
It has to be with the addition of the real money auction house. And you know what? I'm calling it right now. This is the reason that you cannot gank people in PVM.
Yeah, probably.
Because if there were player ganking in the cooperative version of the game, people would say, this guy bought gear, it's not fair. WTF Blizzard.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why the PvP is not competitive, because people would complain about the notion of buying gear. But the fact that you're just playing with friends means that if they're more powerful than you because they bought gear, who gives a crap? It makes no difference. That's helping you. That is beneficial to you.
Exactly.
Your allies purchasing gear in this game only hurts Diablo and his freaking minions. It doesn't hurt you whatsoever. So it makes no difference.
Yep.
So, well, that's Diablo 3, man. We got the Real Money Auction House. It's informed decisions as a result. Take it or leave it. I'll take it. I don't, I'm still, I'm great with it.
6 months ago.
Yeah,
Not
I mean,
2
this
months.
and this is a discussion we've had in the past, but I think we just kind of rolled into this, so whatever.
This is brutal. These next 2 months, they're gonna be bad.
One last thing I wanted to mention as well. We didn't bring it up with the game's release, come out 5/15/12. I wanted to just quickly touch on pre-purchasing because I didn't. When we first brought it up, I think I was just too excited.
Yeah, me too.
Pre-purchasing the game will allow you to digitally download on Battle.net today. Yes, you can do it right this second.
Pretty big download.
Yeah, huge.
It's like 8 gigs or something.
But yeah, so what this will do is that once the servers go live on May 15th, it means you'll be able to hop in right away. People ask me about collector's editions and digital download. No luck, man. If you go for the collector's edition, there is no digital download attributed with that. I don't know why they will not let you do that. No idea why they won't allow it.
Well, I mean, you kind of, sort of can. The thing is...
If you buy 2 copies of the game...
Right. Well, I mean, you could just download the regular version. The problem is that you need the collector's edition key code, and you can't purchase a digital copy of the collector's edition because that's not collector's edition.
Yeah, you can tie it to your account, but when the game launches, you'll have to install it.
Right, exactly. So I mean, you don't really save any time.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic of collector's editions, if any of you guys pre-ordered for Amazon, or I guess from any website for that matter, check your shipping options and make sure it's release day shipping and not 1 day. Because I just went and looked, and Amazon was like, "Yeah, we'll have the game to you by May 17th," and I'm like, "The hell you will!" Like that won't fly with me.
Like hell you will.
Okay. And I mean, yeah. So I double checked, and I had to set it to release day shipping, and that actually saved me an extra $10 because I had it originally was on 1 day shipping and it was costing me like $10. I set it to release day and now I'm paying it's free shipping from that's just through Amazon. So
right.
Yeah, they should have the game to me by May 15th, and if they don't, I'm probably gonna throw a nice little bitch fit. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like everybody's gonna be sitting there playing Diablo 3 and I'm not. Like, how am I gonna handle that?
Yeah. So I needed to make mention of that. Basically, if you're going for the collector's edition, this means you can't download it early. Once you have the once you get your collector's edition and you attach it to your account, then you will be able to download it online. But you might as well install it at that point because you're
right. Exactly. Plus, it'll probably be faster because you're doing the download.
Because you don't have to download and then upload. You don't have to download and then install it. You can just install right away. So.
Yep.
I guess unless you have like a really slow disk read or something.
Yeah, if you're still on like Windows 95 with the old like Pentium ones.
Yeah, I did just want to bring that up for anyone who was wondering or had questions about it or anything like that. And then, as always, we will be wrapping things up with questions. Kevin, you ready for this?
I suppose. Yeah, somebody actually emailed me a couple questions. Again, it was the same guy from last week, Opex Damo. I don't know how to pronounce that. I don't really know if I have the answer. It was 2 quick questions. Is there physical immune mobs in Nightmare or past Nightmare? And I don't think that there are physical immune ones. I don't think so, because a Barbarian would be pretty screwed.
Well, yeah, I guess it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I could have sworn that they've talked about this before, and I just flat out don't remember, and I feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
And then what about Thorn champions? Do you think it'll be percentage based or flat amount? And I'm 99% sure it'll be percentage based.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I mean, right now, though, Thorns, the way it works in the games for the individual player is that it is damage. Like,
Oh, really?
take X damage, yeah. Attackers take +1 damage or something.
Oh, actually, you're right.
So, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were percentage-based Thorn ones, or if they had maybe it's not specifically the Thorns attribute, but I wouldn't be
Yeah, I don't
surprised
think
if there
that's
were
actually
monsters that
Thorns.
had buffs that gave them reflect damage, a literal percentage, you know.
Right, because I mean, it'd be kind of silly once you get to say Inferno and somebody does like, this monster has like 10 damage worth of thorns. Well, that's great because I have 5,000 health. Like, who cares? You know?
Angelino asks, how come we get the cast on Sunday? Well, been over this, but some people might not know. It's because of the fact that we went to the Fansite Roundtable. I left on Thursday and got back this morning because of friggin' flight delays. Let me just tell people about this. This is the most frustrating thing in the world. So I took U.S. Airways, and I'm leaving Orange County set to go to Phoenix, and we get on the plane, and we sit there. 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by. Plane hasn't, like, the plane left the docking station, which is sitting on the runway, and then the pilot comes on the intercom. It's like, oh, our front wheel isn't turning, so we need maintenance. And then we sit there in the plane for an hour and a half, and because of that delay, first of all, I wish they'd just let us go back in the damn airport because I hate sitting on a plane. And let alone the trip from California all the way to Maine is like 7 hours.
Yeah.
That was annoying, but to sit an extra hour and a half on a plane. But because of that delay, I ended up missing my next flight, which made me miss the flight after that because I had 2 layovers. And I had to stay an extra night. It was awful. I wanted to get home Saturday night, but I ended up getting home Sunday morning. But yes, Angelino, because of the fact that I was in California, Kevin was also in California.
Yeah, and I feel really bad about you. I mean, and I was complaining, like, damn it, my flight's like a half hour late. Like, I mean, like, I was supposed to leave at 12:50 or something like that. We didn't get out of there until 1:20. I didn't get home until 2. Man. And then, you texted me this morning, like, yeah, I just got home. And I'm like, well, yeah, I was fast asleep.
So Angelino, because we were gone on Thursday and Friday, which are the days we'll typically do them, one or the other, we weren't able to do it then. But now I am home, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to wait until next week. We will do it right away.
Because we're hardcore.
James Powell asks, hey, 4-6 and Jesse. Jesse's not here, unfortunately. If you die on hardcore characters and have no other hardcore characters on the account, do you think you lose the contents of the stash? I've been asked this before. I don't know, but I'm going to assume that they stay in your hardcore database, and then whenever you make a new hardcore character, it'll be there. I cannot imagine that
I was thinking the same thing.
I cannot imagine that they would just make shit disappear.
Yeah, and if we're wrong, this was Jesse's thoughts. Yeah,
oh man, Kevin,
wrong,
you made a good joke.
Yeah, thank you.
Someone ring a new idea bell, a new event bell. Let me know if you have any questions to jump in, by the way. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that same one. So yeah, just keep going. I'm looking.
Right now, almost every collector's edition has been pre-ordered. Do you think Blizzard's going to ship more post-release? I did not know that are they sold out right now?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple weeks ago, or maybe about a month ago, yeah, they were completely sold out. And then I think maybe Amazon got some more, but, I mean, I don't really think that they're going to have more post-release. They usually don't do that, because then it's not really collectible.
Yeah, that really doesn't, I mean, if I'm not sure if it's currently out, like he says, that they're almost all out, but well, I guess this is a great announcement. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about the collector's edition, I would go check immediately to see if there's still any left, because otherwise you might be running out.
Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to debate it, I'd still say just go buy it, and then if you change your mind, cancel it. I mean, that's like, worst case scenario is you just cancel it, boom. But yeah.
Shagaka Boy Gergs, that's literally his name.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at this question too. I was gonna, damn it.
Hey Force, question, what do you think, which class do you think will be OP in PvP and why? Well, unfortunately, Shagaka Boy, I really, because of the way the game is structured, I don't expect any one class to be overpowered. I'll tell you why. With the skill and rune system and the fact that you're so limited to skills, there is going to be a direct counter for whatever heck build you make. So I'm of the opinion that no matter what sure there'll be strong builds and there'll be builds that are well rounded, and I guess that those will be considered OP builds that do well against multiple character types and multiple spec types is what I'll call them, even though it's not really spec. But there is always going to be someone who can directly counter you. I mean, if you just take a look at the skill runes, and you can go for a wizard that is great at snaring and slowing enemies up, and kiting around. This is going to be great for like anti-melee characters. But if that wizard goes against a wizard who's directly meant to do massive damage to a single opponent, then he's going to destroy the wizard who's got all these abilities to kite barbarians and monks, but has sacrificed a lot of single target damage that the other wizard will do to him. It's that type of situation with the limited amount of skills. It's different in a game like WoW where everyone has access to the same skills except for your spec. You've got your spec, whatever, but all the basic skills are the same, and you've got such a wide array of skills on all your characters. In Diablo 3, there's such a limited amount of skills, and you have to make a specific, like, this is my character, and there's so many other options to directly counter whatever type of character you make that you're going to have a trouble. And here's another example. If I've got a barbarian who specifically made a breaking CC and getting on the ass of range characters, if there's a barbarian or monk who is made to like take reduced physical damage, he's probably going to destroy me.
Exactly. And actually, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think that one of the maybe not overpowered, but probably most handy characters to have in a PvP team will probably be the Witch Doctor, just because he can have all kinds of different summons and crowd control. I think that'll be huge. So whether or not he can actually deal a ton of damage, the amount of crowd control he'll be able to do to the other, for his team against the other team, I just think that that'll be invaluable.
Yeah. I agree.
And actually, while we're on this topic, what you just said kind of just reminded me of it. The 30% damage reduction for barbarians and monks kind of is unfair, because what if I wanted to make a battle mage? Well, now I'm 30%, you guys do 30% more damage potentially than I can, which is kind of unfair. I mean, if the barbarian and the monk were having trouble in Inferno and Hell, how the hell am I supposed to be viable with a wizard, a melee wizard? It's rough, man.
It's all going to come down to scaling and how well the range characters, like a wizard, are going to scale once they have high-end gear. And, because my assumption is that 30%, and if you don't know and you're listening to this, there was a change, and we announced it last week, a flat 30% damage reduction added to monks and barbarians. Prior to that point, they take 30% damage less than what they used to, just from all sources. From physical and from magic and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if that change was added because of late game PVM, like going through Inferno, maybe the melee characters are having too much difficulty, and how that in turn is going to affect the PvP. If I had to make a guess, I mean, obviously 30% less damage is huge. Yeah, and that's gonna suck for the characters, but maybe the ranged characters are scaling very well in the later gear tiers, and as such, it balances itself out. And that's something that obviously can be adjusted. I mean, heck, once more, the PvP is not even going to be available at release, so I'm sure through all their testing, before they actually patch it in, that's something that will be considered most definitely. So
yeah, I mean, like. Even not just in PvP, but if I'm running around PvM as my battle mage, if I'm trying to be viable in Inferno, you're automatically going to be able to stay alive longer. 30%. You can withstand 30% more damage than I potentially can as a wizard just because you're a barbarian.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'm going to grab probably two more questions. First one is actually just kind of asking us about stuff. Force, do you think that you'll be starting with a hardcore character as soon as you hit level 10 with a normal character? Or do you think you're going to do a full normal run first? So I'll ask you as well, Kevin, but for myself, I am going to do a full normal clear, and I'm going to get my normal character to level 60 first. I am definitely going to play hardcore. I plan to do it. I may even do a video series about it because it'd be hilarious if I eventually died. And... But I don't plan to do it right away because of my position and the fact that I want to get high level content out and everything, and I want to be able to look at gearing at level 60. It wouldn't make sense for me to get to level 10 and then start all over. And heck, what happens if I get to 56 and I die? For someone like myself, that means I would not be able to cover like level 60 content, and that would just be awful. The other thing too is that as much fun as Inferno is, it just takes longer to do things because you have to be a lot more careful. And that's great for gameplay, but it's not great for me who wants to make content on the game for it to take like a third or half or twice as long to clear through things just because I'm being extra cautious. It'd just be stupid for me. It doesn't make sense for me. But I plan to do it. What about you, Kevin? What do you think your hardcore plans are?
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I mean, I didn't do very much hardcore at all in Diablo 2, and I'll probably do the same in Diablo 3. I mean, I'll likely have at least one hardcore character just for the sake of checking out hardcore, having a hardcore character, presence in that particular play style. But yeah, most of my focus is just going to be on softcore.
Jeff?
I actually have a... Oh, all right.
Let's do your question. We'll get Jeff's last.
My question is from Tyler. It's right at the top. Are dies removed when traded? I'd rather not have my collector's die devalued, which is, realistic question. I want to say that no, they won't be removed because that would be silly. I mean, I really don't obviously know, but I'm going to just say, put my leg out there and say no, it's not, they won't be removed. And as far as collector's die goes, you're going to be able to dye as many items as you want. If I'm not mistaken, Dennis, it's not, the collector's one is just not like a one-time use only thing.
Right.
Okay.
The collector's die? Yeah, no, it's not one-time use. It's supposed to be unlimited use.
And actually, I didn't really think about this, but yeah, like, I wonder how or if the collector's edition dyed armors are just going to be more valuable simply because they're dyed by collector's edition dye.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I mean, on that
people
note,
who give a crap about dyes, I think.
Well, I mean, it'll look pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be great at first, but I also think it's like, I don't know, it's like those StarCraft 2 portraits. Like, people only care about it when they first see it. I think over time, no one's going to care too much about the collector's edition dyes. We'll see, though. I mean, if it's really super rare, then maybe people think it's super awesome.
Yeah, that's true. And on that note, I don't believe we can actually see in the item description whether or not an item's been dyed, which is kind of puzzling to me. Like, we don't know whether or not it's been dyed or not.
Maybe that's something they just haven't
added
yet.
yet.
That's not like a super significant thing,
Yeah.
So I think there's the possibility that might come out. And my last question, and Kevin might have another one, but if not, we'll wrap it up after this. Jeff Peterson says, how much success is the real money auction house expected to generate, and is it realistically possible that this could turn into a regular source of income for the players? As cool of an idea as that is, I don't think it will get that, I don't think it'll reach that extent. My prediction is that people will be able to make some extra cash, maybe 10, 20 bucks a week if they really work it. And then you will have the occasional, I found this amazing item, and if I decide I don't want to keep it, and it's super rare, and I decide to sell it, you might make a couple $100 extra bucks. But that's not something you can rely on. That's like, like finding a Stone of Jordan or something. Like, that's not, you can't rely to get one of those every week.
Right.
You know what I mean? No matter how much you play. The thing with Diablo is that those rare items are exactly that. They're super rare. It's not like WoW where I can farm one boss and just it will eventually drop. You're not guaranteed that in Diablo at all. And so I think that there will be the opportunity for people to make some money if they get lucky. I don't think it's something that you could rely on, and I think trying to rely on it might be a mistake. The other thing too is that
somebody will, though.
So many people are going to try to do this,
yeah,
and that drives prices down. The more stuff that's in the market, the less valuable each one of them are, and that is going to happen. There will be Chinese farmers, and they're going to drive prices down really bad. So the only thing that's going to be super valuable are those super rare items, and again, can't rely on those. It's luck of the draw. So, do you think there's a chance for someone to make an income off this, Kevin?
I mean, I think if they're smart enough and can do it, then yeah. Like there's this guy. He goes by Marco Polo, and he's been doing a lot of Diablo trading and auction house related stuff, and I mean he's found some pretty cool things that I had really never thought of. Like one of them was purchase a bunch of items from vendors and then salvage them, and then you can sell the the materials for more than you can buy the items for. So you're saving money there and potentially making money. You know?
Right.
I mean, obviously that's not really significant, but more things like that.
And I
all
mean, I think
combined
the thing is
together,
too.
I mean,
I can't imagine how many people right now are really even trying to make a lot of money in the beta.
right.
Especially with like character wipes completely nullifying it every couple of weeks, and the fact that it's not going to matter as soon as the beta is over because you don't carry any of this stuff over. Like I do. There are going to be people who find like great secrets or like great stuff like that. You know, finding not necessarily loopholes, but things that people haven't thought of, ways to make money. Just like people can make gold, a lot of gold in like the WoW auction house. You know, that happens.
Right, exactly.
Playing the market. But it's not going to be the norm at all. The average person won't be able to make a ton of money, and the people who find those tricks, those tricks will likely eventually get out and known
Until they find something new.
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, they're gonna have to, spend money to make some money, and they're just gonna have to know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think by any means they'll be able to use it, as a job. Like, I don't think people will be able to quit their daytime jobs and just make money off the auction house. I mean, maybe if you're good enough, you can make a significant amount. I don't think that it'll be something that you can realistically live off of.
There are
Depending
some
on who
people who
you are, I
will
guess.
do it, and there are some people who will do
yeah.
it just to prove us wrong.
Yeah, sure. And I would love to be proven wrong because I think that would be an awesome thing to see.
Oh yeah, this is not something that I don't want. Like that would be amazing if people could like work in Diablo or something.
Yeah, how
You
awesome
know,
would that be, right?
and there's people who will, but the average person won't make a ton of money. But again, and I think the coolest thing though is that you'll just have some kid, and one day he's going to find the rarest weapon in the game, and he's going to go to the auction house. He's going to look at something similar to it, and be like, "Holy crap! This thing sells for $600." And he is going to make, for him, a boatload of money.
Yep.
It's going to be amazing to see someone young or even someone in college just make like a few $100 in the video game, and they're just going to go ape shit.
Hey, I mean, a couple $100 off of an hour's worth of playtime, like, that's not bad. $600 an hour, I'm down. Like, somebody tells me, hey, you can make $600 an hour. Here's how you can do it. Well, I'm not gonna tell them no.
Yeah, it's cool. I think there's a lot of possibilities, and I don't know. I do hope, man. I hope that'd be super awesome if someone could make like a living off of that. Hell, if someone would have told me, you think people can make a living off of YouTube, I would have laughed.
Videos? Yeah, right.
But I'm having a great time. So yeah. That'll do it.
I think it shall.
That'll do it for this episode of DiabloCast. Man, it was a pretty active week. Again, sorry we got this to you late. Kevin and I were in California at the Fansite Roundtable on Thursday, Friday, and early Saturday. And I still wanted to get you guys a DiabloCast, so here we are. Release date, March 15th. Nope, May 15th, 2012.
I would have loved to have played the game 3 days ago. That'd be awesome. Actually, 3 days ago, we'd be in
it's going to be great.
California.
Coming up to the release, we do still expect there to be various announcements and stuff like that. I don't expect any major new gameplay features to get announced, but we may get a little bit here and there. And we'll be doing a bunch of speculating and that kind
Skill
of stuff.
blogs.
Can't wait. I can't wait for this game to come out. I am so excited. You guys
No.
are excited as well. Kevin's kind of excited.
Oh my God! What are you talking? What are you talking about?
Oh,
What are you
man,
talking
don't
about?
ever do that again. All right, for Kevin, this has been Dennis. Thank you guys once again for watching. We will see you next week with another episode of DiabloCast. Take it easy, guys.
Later, everybody.
Oh man,
I just thought about it.
thought about what?
I'm starting an Italian-American farming
serious?
guild. Why not? Why does that gotta be restricted to Chinese only?
Damn those Italian American gold farmers.
How cool would that be, though, right?
Not at all. Just don't have like Jersey Shore gold farming.
You know, the sad thing is I used to live like right there. I used to go to that particular boardwalk.
Ugh.
It's crazy.
We're surrounded by Guidos.
I am a Guido.
Kevin, people are gonna hate you more than they already do.
I didn't even think that was possible.